Hey guys, welcome to Bar Z. My name's Stan, and today we're working on a Trav, and you'll notice this one has no crystal. And anyone that's ever worked on these knows that this bezel doesn't come off easily. I do believe, I'm not sure, but anyone that's gone deeper into a Trav can tell me down in the comments. The needle has to come off, this face has to come off, and it exposes some screws around this perimeter, and that's the only way to get this bezel off. But we need a crystal. So I've come up with a solution to do it right here in the home shop, and I'm making a secondary bezel that goes on this thing. And I'll show you the secondary bezel. It's just a piece of aluminum tubing that I cut very specifically, and I'll go on the board here in a little while and show you how I cut it. But it's got a piece of Lexan in it, and you can see it's got a slight dome to it. And I'll show you how I did the dome, and I'm going to show you how I installed the Lexan in there. And all I used was these are just welding screens or welding lenses from a welding hood, but they're a very thin, very flexible Lexan and very easy to work with. So easily obtained, small quantities, it won't break the bank. But first of all, let's look at the tooling plate that I used to put the dome in the actual lens. And this is what you got here. And I've got a marked indicator crystal, and I just keep the two pieces taped together. And I've done it before. I did it on a height gauge that I had that was missing a crystal. So what you've got is, this is UHMW. It's got a step in it. You're going to come in here and grab it with the jaws of your lathe. And over here you've got, I've cut some steps in here and made this side concave. Alright. And then our puck has got a center in it, and this side is got steps cut in it, and it's convex. So when you sandwich your material in there and bring the tailstock in and put some pressure on it, it's going to form that Lexan into your shape. Now the key is to hang your bezel that you made over the tailstock, so you can just have it just hanging there on the tailstock or on the live center, where you can bring it in, make sure you're oriented correctly, where you can get it installed on the Lexan while it's still under pressure and still in that convex or concave shape, depending on which side you're looking at it, whether it's convex or concave. But let's go to the board and see what we did to make the bezel, the actual aluminum ring, and what we do there. It's pretty dead simple. It's just a bore with a small groove in it, and then knurls on the outside, and some nice chamfers, and a nice lead-in edge. So let's take a look at it on the board. Okay, well, we've got I've got a drawing on the board of the actual ring that I made. And what you need to do is measure your existing bezel very carefully. This bezel measured 2.255 to the outside of these little knurls, or whatever you want to call them, on the outside of that. So I bored clean through 2.250. So I had about a 5/1000 crush, and you see the way it's got a lead in. It's got kind of a taper. So it's gonna get started very easily, and then it just kind of swages its way down there, and these things kind of cut their way into your soft aluminum. Make sure you make your bezel out of aluminum. So this is what we're looking at here. Cross section of that. And then what I did, I came in with just a simple threading tool. This is an internal threading tool, and I cut a groove. And this is the groove for your crystal or your lens. So I came in 15/1000 per side, so that left us 2.280 out to the tips of our cut. So that's 15/1000 per side, and so 30/1000 overall. So the difference between 2.250 and 2.280 out to the tips. So that 2.280 is what we want to do. Is what we want to cut our Lexan to. So we've got a dimension. This is a dead simple bezel. You need to make sure that this portion of the bezel fits on your travel properly, you could even taper this leading edge a little if you'd like, you know, to make it fit better, and make sure you've got a good fit, make sure your dial still turns, you're not putting a huge radial load on that bezel. But get your dimension very, you know, you can take this in and out of the lathe and check it, or you can check it right in the lathe, either one. Get your chamfers done, get your knurling done, get your notching done, and then you can play with this little lead in right here to get your fit right. After you got the bezel fitted where you're happy with it, then it's time to move on to the crystal. Okay, and after you've got your bezel cut, you can, you know, I'm gonna put up some still photos that I took when I installed this guy yesterday. So let's look at the lathe and see what how this thing looks. And then we'll take a look at the bezel. We're going to slide it off of the live center and slide it right over the Lexan, with it still under pressure and still in that concave shape. And then here we're actually going to release the tailstock, and the double stick tape's going to provide a little bit of a contour. It provides a cushion and helps drive your part so you can cut with confidence, but mainly it's to kind of hold the shape. And this is the Lexan when it's still kind of glued down to your tooling plate. And as soon as you release that double stick tape, it snaps into the groove. Make sure you're started in the groove, and it's going to, with the radial load on that Lexan, it's going to hold whatever shape you've created in the male and female parts here, and you end up with a slightly domed crystal. And then, you know, after your crystal's fitted, give it a quick polish. Make sure it's very clean on the inside before you install. And this is about how loose you want it. I'm going to get it started and show you here. It's already about halfway down, you know, just with light hand pressure, and just kind of rock it down. You know, you don't want a super tight fit, because that's going to put a radial load on the old bezel and make it hard to turn. But that's seated as far as I want to go. There's the seat there, and you've got a nice knurled area here, and we've still got good operation and good movement. And now we've got a crystal protecting our lens, and like I say, it's got a slight dome to it. It's not a lot, but you can control how much dome by putting those steps in your male and female die. And like I said, I found that the newer welding screens, you can go down to your welding supply and get any size welding screen you want. The modern ones are a little more flexible. The older ones, this is an old school type, still very flexible and would work just fine, but it's a little thicker and a little harder to work with. So the modern ones actually form a little better. I think there are the modern Lexan, they cut nice. But what you do want to do is make sure you the edges of your crystal, make sure you knife edge them. Use a 45-degree tool or a 60-degree tool, and knife edge the outer edges of your Lexan so it snaps into that little 60-degree groove that we cut in the aluminum bezel. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw together a quick video to show you guys how to make a new crystal for your Trav dial, or any other indicator for that matter. If you can take the bezel off, you can do it, you know, as long as it fits over the tailstock, and you can hold the form of the Lexan as it's being popped into the groove. That's the whole key. All right, I thought I'd share that secret with you. It's not really a secret. There's other guys that do this stuff, but I just thought I'd share it with you. Never really seen anything like it on YouTube. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.